All right, so good morning. I want to start off with a number. Everybody can see my screen, right? Okay, awesome. Okay, so let me start off with a number. 48%. That's how many students say they lack motivation or interest in activities several times a week or even every day. That means almost one in two students are already battling low motivation before they even begin the day. So take a moment. Does that surprise you? Or does that sound like the students you see every single day? If motivation is the fuel for learning, what happens when so many are running on empty? Today, we're going to explore what can we do to change that. So, hello, my name is Emily Jimenez. I'm a level 2 tutor and I'm a supplemental instruction mentor at South Texas College in the Rio Grande Valley. And I'm proud to share our SI program has earned official accreditation, and we're one of only 9 accredited programs in the entire state of Texas. And we're the only community college to achieve this honor. So today I'm very excited to talk to you about how we can encourage and inspire our motivate our students, right? So to put us in the right mindset for this presentation, we're going to start off with a little icebreaker and you can answer in the chat. So what do you think motivates students the most? Is it grades? Is it praise? Is it curiosity? Or is it like something else entirely? I want to know what you guys think. So go ahead and answer in the chat. And this is on your own time. Whenever you got the answer, what do you think motivates our students? Okay, so a mixture of praise, grades, what they're hoping to achieve, their future goals, right? So I'm hearing a lot of grades and like what they want to accomplish in the future. So that is completely correct. So what we're going to be talking about today is we'll start with understanding what's behind motivation. We'll be recognizing what drains motivation, tools to battle procrastination, creating a supportive learning environment, and we'll wrap everything up with a little summary. All right, so let me start with a simple question. What is motivation? So let's do a quick chat waterfall, and just in case you haven't done that before, everybody's gonna write their response, and on the count of three, you're gonna press enter. So don't press enter yet, only when I say three. All right, so the question is, what is motivation? So I'll give you 1 minute to go ahead and answer that. So think, what is motivation? And while that minute starts, I'll play some music, some jazz. All right, so what is motivation? What do you think that is? You have about 30 more seconds. All right, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go ahead and press enter. All right, so let's talk about this. So, motivation internally and externally, it's what drives us to achieve a goal, yes. The desire to continue or to do work, the need to create something, the drive to do things, internal drive, the desire, what makes us act upon something. All right, so love all those things. So when we talk about student motivation, or sometimes we call it learning motivation, we mean what drives students to see the value in tutoring and put real effort into their learning. In the tutoring setting, motivated students are ones that show up prepared, they ask questions when they're confused, they stay engaged during our sessions, and they keep trying even when it feels tough. So, as tutors, we all know that's not always the case, right? So, when students feel tutoring is helping them grow, and it's not just something they have to do to pass, they become more invested in the process. But here's the key: motivation isn't something that students always bring with them. I believe it's something that can be taught, and it starts with us. We cannot inspire students if we're not inspired ourselves. Our energy, our consistency, our attitude directly shapes how students engage. Motivation is contagious, and modeling it is the very first step. So let's flip this on us. What drives you? We're going to do another chat waterfall on the count of three. Then we're going to press enter. So the question is, what are three things that drive you? And when I count to three, you'll press send. So go ahead, three questions. I'll put my little jazz on. And as you're thinking, oh shoot, what are the three things that drive me? I'll go ahead and share mine as well. So you'll have 1 minute. So some things that drive me: my teaching, my caramel, salted caramel matcha latte, and my paycheck. So as you're thinking about what are yours, you can be completely honest. I'm gonna have to stop sharing for a second. Okay, so what are your things? And you have about 20 some seconds. Think, And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so your goals: family, career, coffee, yes, chocolate, wine, friends, grades, paycheck, yes. We all like that money. Curiosity, that's a really good one. The love for people, coffee, wanting to know something, hoping something is worth the while, some accomplishing something. My daughter, yes, I love that. My future success, the failure, fear, love, tea, right? So these are all good things that drives us, right? So keep these three motivators close. We are going to be going back to them on the next slide. For now, we're going to be talking about the different types of motivation and the difference between a good fuel and a cheap fuel, and how the kind of motivation we rely on shapes our energy and our results. So, in tutoring, not all motivation is created equal. If motivation was a light source, would you rather depend on a lighter that burns quickly, or the sun, which rises every day and helps everything grow? So I like to break them down into cheap fuel and good fuel. So cheap fuel is a short-term motivation. It is your instant gratification. It burns fast and gives a quick burst of motivation, but it fades just as quickly, leaving you needing another spark. It's like relying on a lighter. It's useful in the moment, but it's not sustainable. After a while, like your finger starts to burn and it's not a good thing for a long time. And this happens when a student is motivated only by short-term goals. And some examples of that is like finishing an assignment, getting a treat afterwards, avoiding a bad grade. It can carry them through a single session, but it doesn't last. When the work gets hard, they often lose interest or give up. When we're talking about good fuel is a long-term, self-driven motivation. It's like the sun, it's consistent, it's renewable, and it's long-lasting. It comes from a deeper purpose or source, like a passion, a long-term vision, a goal, like you guys were mentioning. And this kind of motivation sustains students through challenges, and it's not based on quick rewards, but on meaningful progress. So it develops when students begin to care about learning itself or understanding a topic or building confidence or even just noticing that there's a change going on. This type of motivation sticks. It brings them back and it keeps them curious and it helps them bounce back after setbacks. Both types of motivations can spark progress, but the real power of tutoring lies in helping students light their own fire. And every kind of motivation could get a student started, but our goal as tutors is to help them keep going because they want to learn and not because they have to learn. So here are some examples that I've heard or maybe even said myself. So the first one is as long as I pass the test. You know, when it gets close to finals, some students start to be like, they start to freak out and they're like, I just need to pass. You just need to go over this because I need to pass, right? So this one would be an example of cheap fuel. It is not going to sustain them and it's not going to be able to carry them for the future. The next one is you're really improving. I can tell you've been practicing. So this is an example of good fuel, you know, that's going to really light them up and give them that spark and sustain them hopefully throughout the whole semester. So now I would like to hear from you. So if you can go ahead and scan the QR code and just in case because we are going to be going back and forth. So just in case you ever lose it, you can always go on the chat and Gary went ahead and sent that link for you if you ever just, for some reason, you just lost it. So this will take you to a website called Padlet. So you're going to be seeing something like this. And there are more things since we are going to be going like back and forth. You are going to see other things, but focus on the orange ones for now. So just a real quick, like how to use it. We're going to start off with the cheap and the good fuel. So the way you're going to add your comments is you're going to press a little plus, and then you're going to write your response. And then whenever you're done, you're going to press publish, right? So I'm going to move this a little bit to the side just in case you didn't get that QR code. All right. So what I like you guys to answer the columns on both sides for both cheap fuel and good fuel. And so I'd like you guys to give one example of cheap fuel you've heard students say, or maybe you've even said yourself. And then remember those three motivators that we talked about earlier? I want you to look at your motivators and see where they fall under. Are your motivators cheap fuel? Are your motivators good fuel? And really understand what kind of motivation you guys are really driving yourselves from. So we're gonna have like 3 minutes to go ahead and do this. I did give you an example just in case you don't know how to like organize it, and I did write the questions and the instructions also there for you. So if you ever feel lost, just go ahead and scroll back up, and they are gonna be these in yellow. All right, so I'll go ahead and give you 3 minutes to go ahead and do this. And I'll play some music while you guys do this. So go ahead and scan and start answering these questions. You'll need to share one example. And you guys can go ahead and start posting whenever you're ready. You don't have to wait for a certain time. Just once you got these answered, you guys can go ahead and start posting your responses. You have about a minute and 30, so just make sure once you've done cheap, go ahead and go on to good fuel. All right, about 30 more seconds. Start getting those responses in. All right, guys, and that is time. So I was looking at some of your responses, and if this is your response, I'd like to hear a little bit more about you. So I was looking at wise tilapias. Whoever put that one, and yes, some of them are random names, so that's why they're funny names. So whoever wrote that one, can you like speak a little bit on that and share that cheap fuel?
Yeah, you bet. Sorry, I forgot to reset the name. So
No,
wise
it's okay.
tilapia it is. Oh, you can't see me. Oh, now you can see me. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
So yeah, so I've heard this in tutoring sessions where students feel like their their motivation is coming from how the professor is treating them. And if they have a dynamic with the professor that feels like the professor has dismissed their capacity and they're just assuming that the student is just there to be a body in a seat or whatever, then the student's motivation becomes about impressing the teacher, not actually doing anything that's internally motivated. Um, and so I just said that's a cheap fuel because it's not that relationship with the professor is not going to necessarily last, and it has nothing to do with the subject matter, but it's about some external motivation that's fleeting. So
Yes, exactly. Like that is not gonna fuel their motivation and it shouldn't have
mhm,
anything to do with their grade. So I love that. And
exactly.
then I saw your cheap motivators, tea and love, right? They're
Yeah,
not super long lasting, right? It's just a burst of, enjoyment for that time. Yes, I
that's
love it.
right.
Thank you so much for sharing. All right, and I'm gonna look at good fuel. So it seems like we have a good understanding of what is considered cheap fuel. And I'm glad to see not all three of our motivators are under cheap fuel, right? So that's good. All right, so going on to good fuel. Let's hear from Kenny just because you're the first one, if you don't mind.
Problem at all. Um, so sometimes students get into like a competitive spirit where they want to be the best at something, and that's a pretty good motivator. Um, but also, I think like you were saying before, how if they have a good sense of what their long-term goals are, that can uh, motivate them to push just beyond what the class is giving you and to think about what the class is moving you toward. So not just what do I need to do to pass this class, but what's something interesting that I can get out of this class. And it doesn't matter whether it's your major or just a class that you were actually interested in learning about. That really helps.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. And like that is completely true. If you find like some sort of interest in a subject, then it's really gonna make it worthwhile. I know one thing, I'm not a nursing major, but I took anatomy, and one thing was like the large intestines and how they like go, and I didn't know, but you can actually massage it in the path of the large intestine and to help, things flow easier. And like I just learned that And I only took it upon myself to really understand it because I found that interesting. And I'm not even like a nursing major. That's how I made sure that I learned, right? And then your competitive spirit, good sense of long-term goals. Yes, that is all good fuel. And then I just want to check out family and career, good fuel, fear of ultimate failure. That one we'll get to later, right? But that does fall, we could say good fuel, right? It keeps you going and it's long lasting. Love that. Future of success, daughter, yes, all of these are good fuels. All right, so now that it seems like you guys get it, we're gonna go ahead and move on. So now let's talk about the biggest obstacle of motivation, and that is procrastination. So procrastination kills motivation and passion. So think if motivation is our fuel, procrastination is the leak in the tank, and it slowly drains our energy, leaving us stuck instead of moving forward. So it's not just a delay, it's a drain that leads to guilt, stress, and disconnection from our goals. So here's the thing, procrastination usually isn't about laziness. It's often fueled from the fear of failure and perfectionism. And that's why it's so important to help students recognize it early and respond with small, achievable actions and to get them moving again. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, you don't have to see the whole staircase to take the first step. All right, so with that in mind, I actually broke procrastination down into three simple steps. And if you know a little ASL, we are going to do like some hand movements just to like bring that aspect into it. So the first step is going to be called name it. The second step is going to be shrink it. And the third step is going to be time it. So as we go on, we're going to be doing like little signs. And then at the end, we'll see if we remember it, right? So name it, shrink it, time it. These are the three steps for procrastination. So the first two steps kind of go together. So the first step is name it. So the way you would sign it is going to be name it, right? So you want to go name it. And so when you name it, you're going to ask yourself, am I avoiding this because it feels too big, because it's too boring, or because I'm afraid of failing? Awareness is the first key of breaking this cycle. So if it feels too big, you might hear students say, there's just too much to do, I don't know where to start. If it feels too boring, you might hear students say, oh, this is so boring, I just can't get into it. There's like nothing that interests me. If it feels too hard, they might say something like, what if I try and I still don't get it? What if I study for 4 hours and then I still don't understand it? Right? So asking yourself, why am I avoiding it? So that is name it. So if everybody can do like this sign, we're naming it, right? So we're gonna name it. So this is ASO. So you're just gonna go like this and we're gonna name it. That's the first step. Awesome. All right. So the second step is gonna be shrink it. So the way you're gonna do it is you're gonna go like this and you're gonna go shrink it, like you're making it smaller. Awesome. So when you shrink it, now that you know why you're avoiding it, let's make it easier to start. So we do that by shrinking the task. You're going to break it down into the smallest possible step. So that way you don't feel so intimidated, right? So if it feels too big, let's shrink it down. What's one step you can do right now? And maybe that could be just opening your notes, writing one sentence, reviewing the first slide in the PowerPoint. Starting small gets the ball rolling. If it feels too boring, try finding a way to connect something you actually care about, like a hobby or a real life example, and turn it into a challenge for yourself. So, like timing how fast you can do it, or doing like a Quizlet or a booklet. If it feels too hard, you don't have to do it alone. That's what we are for, right? Asking the questions, taking it one piece at a time, and remind them that Struggling is just part of learning and it's part of the process. So now that you named it, you named what's holding you back, you shrunk it into smaller steps. The next step is when are you actually going to do it? Right? So that's when the third step comes in, time it. When are you going to do it? We named it, we shrunk it, and the next one is time it, right? So when are we going to do it? So what when timing comes together, you want to set a short window. So usually about 10 to 30 minutes. So you can use a timer or the Pomodoro method to stay focused. So if you don't know what that method is, it's you study for 30 minutes and then you take a 10-minute break and then you study for 30 minutes again. Or it could be it could be 10 minutes, 5-minute break, 10 minutes, however you want to break it down into, but there always has to be a break in the middle. And so remember, the hardest part is starting, and that's already done. You've already done that. So now let's see how this works in real life. So we're gonna go back to Padlet, and again, the link's in the chat just in case like you lost it. And I want you to try these 3 steps for yourself. Think about some reasons why a student or even yourself procrastinate, then walk through these steps. You're gonna name it, you're gonna shrink it, and then you're gonna time it. All right, so we're gonna go back to the Padlet. So we're right here. And if you scroll, it should be this blue one. So again, let's say you forgot what the instructions were. It says share a common reason on why a student or you procrastinate. Then name it, shrink it, time it. And I'll go ahead and give you also 3 minutes for this. And I'll put the jams back on.
When I'm furthest from myself, feeling closer to the stars, I've been invaded by the dark, trying to recognize myself when I feel I've been replaced. When I'm furthest from myself, feeling closer to the stars, I've been invaded by the dark, trying to recognize myself when I feel I've been replaced. But I can feel it kick down in my soul, and it's pulling me back to earth. Let me know I am not a slave, can't be contained. So pick me from the dark and pull me from the grave, 'cause I still feel alive. It is hopeless, I start to notice that I still feel.
And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and press publish whenever you guys are ready. You have about 1:30 seconds.
Drifting as I dream, wake up soon and realize that there's life reaching out to rid me of my pride, call allegiance to myself. I can feel it kick down in my soul, and it's pulling me back to earth. Let me know I am not a slave, can't be contained. So pick me from the dark and pull me from the grave, 'cause I still feel alive. It is hopeless, I start to notice that I still feel alive. Falling forward, back into orbit. Oh, and I still feel alive. It is hopeless, I start to notice. Oh, and I still feel
All right, we have 30 more seconds. Get those in.
back into orbit. I can feel it kick down in my soul. It's pulling me back to earth, let me go. And this heart that beats inside of me will flow. misplaced, a part of my soul lost in the in-between. Oh, so it seems I'm
Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and talk about this. So we'll start from the bottom. So let's hear Jonathan, if you can share what you went ahead and responded.
Yeah, so a lot of times I tutor chemistry, and a lot of students just don't really know where to start with their studying, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of get so stressed about it that they just don't study at all. So one of the questions that I answer most around test time is like, where do I even begin with this? I'm so stressed, I don't even know what to do. So I always tell them, let's take a step back. Let's look at your learning outcomes. There's a whole document here that tells you exactly what you need to learn. And we can go through, we can just spend a few minutes and figure out what the priorities are, what is most important for us to start studying right now, the things that you think you need the most help on.
Yeah, and you could only do that when they pinpoint why they're avoiding it, right? So, yes, like I've had a couple of students come with me and have that same thing. So, I love how you led them to it. So awesome. And can we hear from Max? I don't think we've heard from Max before.
Yeah, I said, I feel like a common, the reason I hear is that they want to do is like, they just don't enjoy the task or they want to do something else to just kind of push it away. And I feel like if you said to yourself, like, okay, I'm going to work on this, task that I don't view as enjoyable for like 90 minutes, then, or like an hour, then I'm going to give myself like 15 or 20 minutes to do that task later. It kind of gives them an end goal or something to work towards.
Yeah, exactly. And this procrastination steps are just for them to get started, to realize why they might be doing it and just help them start in some way. So yeah, I love that. Good job, guys. So now we're ready. I'm gonna put this away. All right. So now that we've done that, remember how we talked about cheap fuel and good fuel? Motivation is fueled by chaos. Sorry, motivation is fueled by chaos is like cheap fuel. So if it's fueled by chaos, then it burns fast and it leaves you empty. So like you were saying with your student, they just don't know where to start, right? And then they don't do it at all, right? Exactly. So that is creating a structure and scheduling your day gives your motivation roots. It can turn into a long-lasting, sustainable, good fuel whenever we have a clear schedule. So a clear schedule reduces procrastination and stress by breaking big tasks into small, doable steps. So instead of feeling overwhelmed, students can count on us. Students can focus on one thing at a time. So I don't know if most of our days, at least like when I ask my students, they say that their day looks like wake up, eat, study, school, study, sleep, right? So nowhere there do they do something that they want to do. It's all a list of things that they have to do. And I just want to hear like from somebody if you'd like to volunteer, what does your schedule look like? Does it look like a list of tasks or does it you have things that you enjoy throughout your day? Would anybody like to share that? All right. I'm gonna pick somebody. Jonathan, sorry, I just see you first.
No worries, no worries. Um, no, I like to get a good mix of things in. Yeah, sometimes I have the opposite problem where I'm doing too much of what I enjoy, like Max was saying, is just that I really want to do something that I enjoy, so I kind of procrastinate on some of the things that I should be doing. I
Uh-huh.
really like to play music, so I spend a lot of my time doing that, and sometimes I just lose track of time.
Uh-huh. And are you a student, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I'm just a tutor right now, so
Oh, okay.
graduated a couple years ago.
Well, awesome. Congratulations. I know for
Thank you.
me, I am currently still a student, so I don't have that much time, right? But I'm glad that you have that much time. So now that we've talked about how it's important to have a clear schedule and it makes things doable, the key is teaching students how to schedule the day that they want to have and not just have a list of tasks. So this shifts the mindset from survival to intent, right? So small wins build momentum. And then that leads to bigger victories and confidence. And balance is key too. Like you, Jonathan said, too much time, and then I have too little time, right? So the balance matters. A good schedule includes studying, rest, rewards, making motivation sustainable and less draining. And then like when I ask my students, I notice they're like they tell me about their schedule and they're just like, like I don't like I just want to sleep. That's their enjoyable thing from the day. And they just don't even seem happy telling me about their day because it's just everything that they have to do. So we're going to introduce this way to build balance through temptation bundling. And it's pairing something you procrastinate on with something you enjoy or is beneficial for you, making it making the necessary task more enjoyable and easier to stick with. So, how it works is you're more than likely to follow through a task when it includes a built-in reward. So you're going to be linking a tempting activity with a productive one, and that's going to create a positive habit loop. So I'm gonna have you guys try this on Padlet, but before that, I like to give you an example, like on how it works. So, for example, I should be doing my homework, but I'm procrastinating on it, right? And I want to get coffee or get boba, right? That's something enjoyable and it's beneficial in the sense that coffee wakes you up enough to do homework, right? So the way that we can combine these is maybe I can go to a cafe, grab a coffee, and do my homework there. So at least my brain knows when I get coffee, I'm going to be doing homework. And that's how I can combine the should and the want together. So I can do both at the same time. All right, so we are going to go back to that Padlet and we're going to try these together. So now we're going to the green. And again, if the link is in the chat just in case. So I want you guys to come up with 2 things you should do or are procrastinating on, and 2 things you want to do, something that's enjoyable or beneficial. And think about how you can combine them to do the should and the want together. And just in case you're like, what's enjoyable and beneficial? So I put some words here that could fall under beneficial and enjoyable tasks, just in case you didn't know which way to go. And of course, there's so much more other than this, but this is just like a direction, just in case you needed. So we're gonna have about 3 to 4 minutes for this one. And since we have a little bit more time, go ahead and see how you can combine them and do the want and the should together. So I'll go ahead and give you some time for this. And if you love K-pop Demon Hunters, this song is for you.
Don't want you, need you, yeah, I need you to fill me up. 마시고 마셔봐도 상해졌지 않아. Got a feeling that, oh yeah, you could be everything that I need. Taste so sweet, every sip makes me want more, yeah. Looking like snack, cause you got it like that. Take a big bite, want another bite, yeah. 너의 모든 걸 나 원해. 너 말고 모두 뻔해. When you're in my arms, I hold you so tight, so tight. Can't let go, no, not tonight. 지금 당장 날 봐, 시간 없잖아. 넌 내 거야, 이미 알고 있잖아. Cause I need you to need me.
All right, so finishing tasks throughout the week rather than waiting till Sunday or Saturday. Take my daughter to the pumpkin patch this weekend. Yeah, that's how you can combine them. Awesome. We have about 2 more minutes.
Make me wanna flip the top, I'm gonna come make it hit the spot. Every drip, the drop, fizz and pop. That's what I'm told, that it's getting hot. Just I'm sipping, man, it's dripping out. It's done, I need a second round. And pour a lot, and don't you stop till my soda pop fizzles out.
And you have 1 more minute. So you want to, let me lower this a little bit. So you want to play music and hang out with friends, but you want to study for a test and finish a big project. So you could use a Pomodoro method for your project and send breaks. Study for your test, hanging out with a friend. Yes. Be careful with that one though. Sometimes studying with the friends mix. All right, awesome. I love this, guys. All right, we're gonna move on. And this is a strategy where the students were like, I don't know about that. But once they gave it a chance, they came back and they told me that it actually worked. And now they have more things to look forward to throughout their day. So going back to this, so I should clean and do laundry, but I want to listen to music. So why don't you do both? Why don't you listen to a new playlist while you're doing laundry? And that's gonna hopefully pump you up so that way it makes it a little more enjoyable. We want to study for exams, but you want to play video games. Well, you can actually use apps called Booklet, Purpose Games, Kahoot, Quizlet, and these turn studying into games yourself. So if you must game and that's like you have to do that, you can turn it into a way you can also study. All right, awesome. So now we're going to talk about creating a supportive learning environment. So a safe, encouraging space helps motivation thrive. So when students feel supported, they're likely to take risks, ask questions, and stay engaged, even when the material gets challenging, right? So support doesn't mean doing the work for them. It means walking alongside them, showing them that you believe in their ability to figure it out, just facilitating their learning. We need to celebrate their effort, not just their outcome. This keeps their motivation burning steady and recognize the persistence, the growth, the courage that they have to even answer a question. And this will help the students see their progress and hopefully fuel their success. Setbacks, they should be um normalized, right? The struggle is part of the learning process. And just like good fuel, the students should feel supported. And when they do, they're more likely to take risks, ask questions, stay fully engaged. And this keeps the fire going and consistent and steady. Without it, motivation burns out quick, just like cheap fuel. So as tutors, as mentors, we are part of that good fuel. So we need to make sure that we respond to effort, mistakes, and progress so that way their flame can stay steady and so it doesn't fade out. So this support gives the students the confidence and the energy to keep moving forward. So once we've created that safe learning environment, we need to make sure that we shape our intention and our outcomes. So Dwayne Dreyer says, your intention creates your reality. And that couldn't be more true. For tutoring, before we can even act, our energy, our mindset, our focus shapes the impact we're going to have. So that's where our intention comes. So before you even start your session, you need to make sure that you have an intention. So some intentions that I have before I start my session is it is my intention to help my students. It is my intention to succeed as a tutor. It is my intention to help the student feel more confident. And that's going to put you in a type of energy that hopefully is going to reflect positively towards a student. So before every session, take a moment and set your intention as a student. And your intention, when it's clear and it's aligned with the purpose, the motivation is going to come naturally. And we need to make sure we start every session with a purpose. So when we start, once we've set our intention and we state the purpose out loud at the beginning of our session, it helps the student understand the why behind what you're doing and why we're going over this. And it just gives them a sense of direction of where to start. That's why it's so important to start every session with a clear purpose. So work with a purpose, not just emotion. Visualize the goal before you begin and set a clear direction. And that could just be like, I'm gonna make sure you understand how the bones form and just really make sure you feel confident with that. Even if it's one thing, one question, just make sure you set that goal, the purpose for this session. And in order for all these tips to be effective that we've talked about throughout the whole session, is you need to have real conversations with these students. Like none of these tools are going to work unless you talk to your students. That's when you're going to have real impact. So motivation isn't just taught, it's molded. Share your intentions and your struggles. Help your students' goals help your students' goals match their reality and not just their hopes. So these real conversations are really important for you guys to do that. And before I do my little quick recap, well, we'll just do the recap just in case, because I think we're running out of time. All right, so hopefully motivation is a fuel for learning, and everyone has the power to keep that flame alive. We model motivation and fuel learning the right way. We help students turn short-term goals into sparks for a long-lasting fire. We structure beats stress. So when we pair support with real conversation, it creates an environment where they can truly thrive. And every encouraging word, every patient explanation, every moment of belief adds to the student's tank. You might not always see the impact immediately, but you're helping them build that momentum that will carry them through the whole session. So as you leave today, remember you are part of that good fuel. Keep showing up, keep believing, and keep lighting that spark one session at a time. And just thank you guys for everything that you guys do. You really do impact your students. So just remember that. And that's pretty much all I have for you today. We do have 1 minute, so if you have any like quick questions, then I'm here to answer it. If you want to, because there is a 10-minute break, if you want to stay and ask me anything, then I'll be here for that time. But thank you guys so much for taking the time. And yeah, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.